Alright guys, welcome back to Vanguard Motor Sales. My name's Kermit, and behind me is a 1935 Ford Cabriolet, another one out of the few cars that we got here. My favorite era of automobile. Underneath the hood here, or hoods I should say, is a Flathead V8 to 221 I believe, 85 horsepower model. Starting at the front of the car here, you can see the grille. It's got some patina to it, but it looks to be pretty much original, which is actually pretty nice because it actually looks like it survived very, very well. This is, I believe, the first year without the dog on the hood here, so it's got just a little bit more simplified V8 emblem on it. The radiator cap is actually underneath the hood here. You're going to see that in the undercarriage video. Paint on this is really, really pretty. Someone did a really nice job of restoring it. Nice, tasteful pinstripe all the way down the side here. Big old fenders, looking good on it. Looks like the running board rubber was indeed replaced on this one. Checking out the inside here. Obviously, it's been reupholstered. There are seat belts in here. I have them tucked in behind the seat here just so that they're not flailing around, but you do have seat belts, like full modern seat belts that actually can come out if you do want to use them. Now, another cool thing that this thing has got, if you let me sit up in here, it has a 6-volt turn signals actually been installed on it, which is actually really, really cool. Underneath the dash is actually pretty tidy. I tidied it up a little bit myself. Horn works great. Lights work great. Light switch works great. Everything's doing what it should. High beams, low beams, and marker lights. Another thing we did for you, made sure your fuel gauge is fully functional. These actually take a fluid. You can actually clean these out, fill them, and there's no electricity needed to make them work, which is really, really cool. Oil pressure gauge works, temp gauge works, and meter all works. Throttle and choke knobs here. This light switch here is for your dash lights, which indeed does work. Close the door. Nice solid feeling door. Closes real well. Coming around the side here, you can see, once again, beautiful pinstripe continuing. Locking gas cap. Key is on the key ring for the car. Rumble seat here, of course, been reupholstered, no big surprise. And if you look down in there, you have got all the leg room in the world. You could be about 8'12" and fit up inside of here. Absolutely beautiful. And looks like the trunk mat, of course, is replaced down in there as well. It feels nice and solid when you go to close it. Spare tire back here, everything looks as it should be. Now, of course, this is still a 6-volt car. All the lights are actually, they work really, really well. Coming around at the side here, just the same as our 34 that we have here. Steps both here and here to get into your rumble seat. Don't worry, you can step on this stuff. It's all been factory reinforced. It's designed to take it. Convertible top, obviously been redone. Really nice shape. Opening this door here for you guys. You can see interior continuing to look good. Parking brake, 3-speed manual transmission, just as it should be. Coming around to the side here, hood, beautiful shape. Louvers look like they're in beautiful shape. Headlights, dual horns, just big old nice dual horns hanging off the front here, just the way it should be. Once again, turn signals tastefully been added here and here, and in the back they're actually wired into the factory lights, which is really cool to see. So, that all being said, I think we're gonna see if we can get a break in the weather to go and drive it, and if not, we're at least gonna let you hear it run. So, stay tuned.
Alright, we're going to show you how the top goes down. You got some twist bolts right here. You got to loosen these up. Then there's a couple of latches right here. You got to unlatch that latch. There's one on each side. And then back here is another one. Now, if you put your top up and it's all wrinkly, it's because you haven't unlatched those latches. Alright, I've got both of those unlatched. I got this one unlatched. And then you just lift up on it. And boom, there she is. Alright, and to finish up, these latches unlatch, and then this actually folds right down. Isn't that neat? And then you can stick your kids in the rumble seat back here and just have a blast. Alright, let's take this 35 for a ride. Got the top down, the rumble seat up, and we're ready to go. What a beautiful day for driving this baby. Now don't forget, she's got windows. So you want to roll up those windows, you can roll up those windows. Very cool old car right here, guys. Now here at Vanguard Motor Sales, we can ship this beauty anywhere in the world. You just give us a call at 248-974-9513. Now Tom answers his phone 7 days a week and practically 24 hours a day, so you can call him anytime you would like, and that man will pick up the phone and he will explain to you just how easy it is to park this dream in your driveway. And if you want a little help with financing, we got you covered in the finance department too. The bankers and Tom will take care of all the paperwork. You don't have to do a thing but make that phone call to Tom. You see how nice this thing drives. I mean, cruising along here about 30 mile an hour in the sub, no problem. Upshift, downshift from second to third, no problem. Now there are not synchros on first gear, so you have to be almost completely stopped to get it in first gear. Or of course, you old timers, you remember what double clutching is. You can double clutch it and get it in first gear too. But you really don't need first gear unless you're at a dead stop. This baby will pretty much perform in second and third gear, no problem. You can see down here on the dash that the speedo is working. Even the horn's working. See, we're just a little bit of a roll, but now we got to stop. So I just drop it right down in first, no problem. And away we go again. Now, our shop is very close to the airport. So if you'd like to come in and check it out in person, we'd love to have you. So come on in. We do have two buildings here, and they're only about 1.5 miles apart, so your car may be at either building. So make sure you call Tom, let him know you're coming in so we can make sure we have your favorite car ready to go. See, I just downshifted into second that time. No problem whatsoever, taking off. Now here's our building here at 15100 Keel Street in Plymouth, Michigan. This is the main facility. And then, like I said, our other one's just down the street. And we're about to do something nobody else in the industry does to all their cars. We're gonna put this up in the air and show you just how nice the bottom side is.
All right, guys, this is the underside of our 35. We got it up on the rack here, away from the back door. Starting from the back forward, I do believe this is the original gas tank for this car. Of course, it looks pretty clean inside. You can actually look right, I actually had a camera down the filler neck, and I actually changed the fuel in here too. This car had been stored for quite some time before we got it, so the fuel has all been changed. So you got nice fresh gas in here, 93 by the way. So another thing about this car is I don't believe the frame has actually ever been off of this car. I believe that all like the insulation and stuff like that you're going to see moving forward is all the original insulation and whatnot, and you're going to see more of that as we get going with it. Now this car has been hydraulic brake converted too. If you've watched any of our earlier video we did on a 34 Ford Cabriolet, the red one, I had mentioned I thought 38 was the brakes. These were probably 39 brakes because 38 was still linkage brakes, I've learned. So more than likely it has a 39 set of brakes on it, and so of course they have been updated to hydraulic. Now one thing we have done, we've gone through the brakes on it, and I actually have personally honed these and rebuilt these wheel cylinders for you guys, so those are nice and clean. It's been .5 converted, fresh adjustment on your brakes. Parking brake does indeed work. And then if you come over here and you actually see this here, here's your fuel line here. Now this little tube here is actually a vapor tube. It actually is what makes your fuel gauge work. It's a very interesting design, and I learned a lot about it in the process of repairing the one that's in the car here. So that's, very, very cool. No electricity needed to make it work. Now once again, I believe this car's never had the frame off of it, so I believe this is, this is the original insulation in between the floorboard and the frame here. And of course, I believe the floorboards to be original to the car too, which is really surprising given the age of the car, but the more and more I look at it, the more and more I believe it. There's no pitting on anything under here, implying that there was moisture that side underneath it, which is strong evidence. This is probably the original floor pan. I don't see a seam anywhere. You lift the carpet up in the car, or I should say the mat, and I don't see any seams in there either. It looks to be the original pans, which is really, really cool to see. Now, of course, exhaust looks to be very, very fresh, practically brand new. Underside of either running board looks like it's in pretty good shape underneath. Moving forward with all of that, this running board here in the front does got a little, looks like it got hit at one point here. Someone did straighten it out, but just a little bit there, making it known. So here is what is left of the original linkage brake setup here. That they did leave that in the car, and a lot of that is actually part of your parking brake mechanism. Moving forward to that, we do have the Toploader 3-speed transmission here, your master cylinder here for the hydraulic brakes, and they did actually nip a little hole in the floor here, just like your a little bit later Fords would actually have, so you can fill this from the top side of the car. You don't have to crawl underneath it to do that, which is also kind of a nice thing that they've done for you. Moving forward to that, this is the underside of our numbers matching 221 Ford Flathead V8. Now, it is a 1935 engine. We know not only from the serial number, but another dead giveaway, and once again, if you watched our video on our 34 Cabriolet, you'll hear me make mention of this breather that is over here on the side of the oil pan here. This is actually an early form of crate case ventilation. More or less, it's a road draft tube. And this little triangular thing here in the oil pan, coupled with the breather that's on the top of the engine you're going to see here in just a second, those of which are both kind of first year 35 things to keep your oil cleaner. And if I didn't mention it here in the back, another modernization of this car is you do have a set of shocks on this, your more modern style shock on it. They painted them black to try to hide them so you don't quite see them as much, but both front and back have modern shocks on them, which is ultimately the cheaper route. Of course, brakes up here, I did go through these as well, make sure that your wheel cylinder's all cleaned out, honed, and like I said, .5 converted. Wheels and tires on it, of course, tube style tires, just what it would have on it. Looking for the size, looking for the size. Let's see here. There it is. I passed it, what, twice? 6.0 by 16, so 16-inch rim. Of course, wide whites, good-looking spoke wheels here. They got the nice V8 emblem here. Very, very cool. Moving forward here, you can see just a little bit of the ripple in the floorboard there, I should say running board, excuse me. Looking at this side here, I'm assuming it's going to be the same size, 6.0 by 16, yes sir. And we do have same good-looking wheel and tire back here with a hubcap, beauty ring, wide white, has been balanced. If you take a look up in there, once again, looks to be more or less original. Of course, I'm assuming the car has been repainted, but you know, no pitting. I don't see anything that's really nasty up in there. Overall, structurally, seems to be a pretty healthy car. So, that all being said, let's go take a look at the numbers matching 221 V8 under the hood. All right, guys, here it is. Numbers matching 221. And when I say numbers matching, of course, there's not a VIN code on these. They weren't so much concerned with that back in the day. However, there's a serial number that is stamped on the back of the engine block there. You can actually see it with the floorboard lift up. We did actually clean it off and find it. We ran the number. That, not to mention with the crankcase ventilation system that we're seeing here, all comes back as 1935 correct. So that's pretty good evidence that this could be the original engine that this car was born with. Now, of course, 221, 21 stud engine, three bolts, intake manifold, water pump, in head, diver's helmet, all that stuff, 85 horse passenger car engine. It's even got a Ford belt on it, original type charging system. You can see here generator, positive ground 6 volt with a, once again, the voltage regulator, which is more or less just an on-off switch. You know, all very rudimentary, very, very simple, which is all stuff that I think is actually very, very cool. Just behind that generator, we do have what I believe to be a Stromberg 48 two-barrel carburetor, the slightly larger version of the more common Stromberg 97. And I do believe that is what these actually came with. I mean, all the cars here that we have that have the original engines in them have these on it. And they're all period correct, or all the correct engines for them. So moving forward of all of that, or I should say backward of that, we have the original style fuel pump here. And this here is once again part of that crankcase ventilation system here. It's got this scoop on here that actually sucks air in this way, and then the vacuum of the air rushing past that thing underneath there actually helps kind of cycle some air through the crankcase. So overall, guys, it's pretty nice. Like I said, original engine in this one. Very, very cool. Drive is absolutely fantastic. If you'd like to come in and take it for a ride, I would certainly invite you to. Make sure if you got any questions about it, you can ask me personally. I've actually worked on this car quite a bit. I know quite a bit about it. So that all being said, give Tom a call at the number below and let us park this Cabriolet in your driveway.